Shalom, G-Man Silent Sit Downs coming with a video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, double honors to the elder apostle of GMS for teaching us this truth. You know, GMS great millstone. And peace and salutations to the elect out there that's learning and teaching this truth in sincerity. This video is going to be named Comment Board, Matthew chapter 12. Verse 26 till 29 explained. So a brother on the comment board asked if I could break down Matthew chapter 12 concerning if Satan cast out Satan, how can his kingdom stand? You know, and basically you can look at that scripture multiple ways, man. You know, you can give many examples to explain that scripture. So we're going to go into it. Matthew chapter 12, starting with verse 24. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, "This fellow doth not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of devils." Now what you got to do first is look up who Beelzebub is. You know, so you look up who Beelzebub is. Beelzebub, Lord of the house, a name of Satan, the prince of evil spirits. You know, so basically they said that Yahushai was exorcising demons from people in the name of Satan. You know, but we know that basically Satan has the charge over these demons. Ultimately, the Most High has the charge over the left-hand side and the right-hand side. But Satan is like the captain over these demons. You know, he sends them left and right by the commandment of the Most High. So it says, so they was claiming that Yahushai was under Satan instead of under the Most High. They was claiming that Yahushai was doing it in the name of Satan. Verse 25. And Yahushai knew their thoughts. So Yahushai was basically reading their minds. You know, they was many times the Pharisees and Sadducees, even the disciples, was thinking certain things, and Yahushai knew their thoughts. You know, so he knew what they was thinking about. So it says, and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. You know, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And that's what you see now, man. That's what you see now. A kingdom divided against itself. So Russia, the people in Russia are Edomites. The people in America are Edomites. The people in Europe are Edomites. But they are not ruling under one agree. They are divided against themselves. You know, you see Europe falling apart. Europe is crumbling down. They don't agree with each other no more. You know, then you have Russia fighting America. So if they don't agree with them with each other, if they are divided against himself, let's look up that word divided. Satan says he's divided against himself. To separate into parts, to divide, cut into pieces, to divide into parties, be split into factions. To distribute a thing among people, bestow in part. So they split up. They split up and they go against each other, you know. So if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. He turns against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So how you see Russia going against America and America against Russia shows you that they are basically ruling. But if they are gonna fight themselves, how can his kingdom stand? And you got an example of that. Um, which you call in the army blue on blue. Blue on blue basically represents friendly fire. So here it says friendly fire on Wikipedia. It says friendly fire is an attack by a military force on non-enemy, own, allied, or neutral forces while attempting to attack the enemy, either by misidentifying the target as hostile or due to errors or inaccuracy, fire not intended to attack the enemy, and deliberately firing on one's own troop or disciplinary reasons is not called friendly fire, nor is unintentional harm to non-combatants or structures, which is sometimes referred to as collateral damage. Training accidents and bloodness incidents also do not qualify as friendly fire in terms of casualty reporting. Um, yeah, so here it says fire, a fire not intended to attack the enemy and deliberately firing on one's own troop for disciplinary reasons is not called friendly fire. Anyway, the point is clear. If you are at war and you are firing at your own people, then how do you think you're gonna win the war? If you are shooting at your own people, how you think you're gonna defeat the enemy? How do you think that you are gonna come out as the victor? That's impossible, because you are fighting against yourself. So that's the point that Yahushua was trying to make. Basically, how can the kingdom, how can we become the victor? How can Satan become the victor if he is fighting against himself? And then he was explaining a kingdom divided against itself shall not stand. So you can see it with these nations nowadays. They are fighting against themselves. The Edomite race, the Edomite nations are fighting against themselves. So that shows you that we are at the end. We are at the end of Esau's kingdom. He is about to fall. So it says, verse 25 again, and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Desolation, comes from the word, that's where the word desert comes from. Desolation, desert. A desert is a desolation. There is nothing there. It's just plain. And every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. So it even goes back to a household. That's why I started off with this picture. If you are living with a woman like this, your house will not stand, man. Because if the man and if the wife and the husband are constantly fighting with each other, if there is no order, that means that the house cannot stand. If the mother decides not to listen to the husband and takes the children to this city, and the husband wanted to go to another city, it's not gonna stand, man. Who's gonna make which choice is gonna make? They are both gonna end up leaving each other, and probably the woman is gonna look for a man with some balls, man, instead of a pussy clot that cannot deal with this woman. So that's a house divided against itself, man. It will not stand. And here's the example. This is Sirach chapter 25 verse 16. I had rather dwelt with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. you know, because a wicked woman brings a lot of stress. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. You know, when a woman is being very wicked, committing adultery, doing all kinds of wicked shit, eventually you will see it in her face. Like, for example, if you look at the younger Beyonce, you will see a happy face, smiling and stuff, you know, innocent. But if you look at her now, performing on stage or even outside of the stage, um, you will see a demonic entity because she has done so many demonic things to get at her level that eventually you will see it in her face. Verse 18, her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly. So that's the stress that the woman causes the man when he sits among his neighbors and he heareth it, meaning this woman screaming out of the top of her lungs because she's not pleased by a certain thing. Then he heareth it and shall sigh bitterly, like, "Hey, this bitch is screaming at me again, man. Fuck my life. You know, I want to end this shit. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of the sinner fall upon her. As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man." Exactly. Like an old man that tries to climb up a sandy way, he's not going nowhere, man. He's going nowhere. An old man trying to climb up a sandy way is going nowhere. And that's a man that basically is quiet of himself, trying to fight against a woman that's full of words, man. She's shouting and she's yelling all the damn time. Verse 21, stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire not for her pleasure. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudent, and much reproach. A wicked woman abated the courage, maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. So a woman that doesn't help her husband when he's in distress, for example, you lost your job, you come home, then you come home to a bitch yelling at you like this while you're already in distress because you now have lost your job and you got to go to the government and basically beg for money, man. You know, and then she abated the courage. She makes it even worse. Verse 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Give the water no passage, neither wicked woman liberty to get abroad. The word get means troop. So don't let her hang around, you know, outside with a group of females, because that's wickedness, man. Because when a woman walks in a group, you know, when they see a man, you know, they will talk about him, even though the woman has a man. You know, they will lust after other men. You know, they will gossip and talk about their own family. You know, how their relationship is going. So the scriptures say, give the water no passage. Don't give your woman too much liberty, too much freedom, because it will end up going against yourself. Verse 26, if she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. So eventually, if a house is divided against itself, you know, you are going to end up divorcing and cutting her off and letting her go, man. Basically, the household is gonna fall. The family structure is gonna break down, crumble, and fall, and even the children are gonna suffer from it if there are children, you know. So that's the end. That's the end of a house divided against itself. So that gives us a good sign that this kingdom is going down, man, and that the curses that are upon us are transitioning towards Esau, man. You know that brothers hate each other. that basically Israel, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom was fighting back in the days. That's all upon Esau. That's coming upon Esau now. So the point is, verse 26, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So Yahweh Shai is saying, like, how can Satan, how can I be under Satan and fighting against myself, against him who sent me? How can I do that? That's like the friendly fire that I explained. You're not gonna win the war if you are constantly friendly firing your own people, man. If you constantly shooting your own people down, dead, headshot through the back of their head, then how do you think the war is gonna be won? So that's the point Yahushua is making. Verse 27, and if I, by Beelzebub, cast out devils, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judges. But if I cast out devils by the Spirit of the Most High, then the kingdom of the Most High is come unto you. Because through Yahushua is coming, the kingdom of the Most High came a step closer to upon this earth, man. Because Satan was basically and is still having, his wickedness in the earth, his pleasure, because the earth is not being ruled in righteousness right now, but still the Most High is the ruler of this earth, still is the Most High the ruler of this earth, but the earth is not being ruled how the Most High, in the righteousness of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, so Satan basically has his desires now. So verse 28, but if I cast out devils by the Spirit of the Most High, then the kingdom of the Most High is come unto you, because Yahushua has come. The kingdom of the Most High is coming upon the earth now, step by step until the elect is being sealed. But Yahushua was the first step. That's why the scriptures say Yahushua is the cornerstone. He was the first stone to be laid to build the kingdom, this righteous house, instead of Satan's house, which represents this kingdom now, the house of Satan. So that's why Yahushua also gave the explanation in verse 25, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. So Satan's house is not going to stand if Satan is fighting against his own house, but through Yahushua we are building the Most High's house, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua's house, spiritual house, of which Yahushua is the cornerstone. So that kingdom is being built right now by sealing the elect, by teaching the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. That's why the kingdom is come unto you, and it's still being built, man. Until the 144,000 are sealed, and this word is being spread all across the world, then the end shall come. Like Matthew 24 and 13 says, 13 and 14. 14, Slakia. So going to the end of this lesson, verse 28, but if I cast out devils by the Spirit of the Most High, then the kingdom of the Most High is come unto you, the house of the Most High, instead of the house of Satan. Verse 29, or else how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house? So here in verse 29, Yahushua is explaining what he is busy with. Yahushua is rightfully entering into Satan his house and spoiling his goods, the people that are possessed with demons, the man of the elect that are not walking in the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. He is spoiling them. He is taking the Satan his possessions, because people that are demonic possessed and people that are not walking in the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, they are possessions of Satan. But Yahushua came in his house, which is this kingdom, and he has to bind up Satan first. So he has to bind up these demons first. That's why he says, or else how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man. So Yahushua is rebuking these demons and exercising how you say that? Exercising demons out of people. And healing the sick, healing the dumb, the blind, people that are lunatic. Those people also have demons upon them. So Yahushua is doing those things, and he's basically spoiling Satan's house spiritually. So let me read it again. Or else how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man, like I just explained, and then he will spoil his house. So then the complete transition from wicked rulership will go to a righteous rulership, whereof even the heathens are gonna rejoice, man. Proverbs chapter 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. That's why we are in a state of mourning right now. And, we are waiting for the kingdom, because in that time we are gonna, like it says, rejoice. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. See y'all in the next lesson. Shalom.